na na. Family goes, oh na na na. Oh na na na. Come kick it with the Casey's. All that love and all those babies. C-A-S-C-Y. Welcome to their lives. Welcome. C-A-S-C-Y. DJ Envy and Gia, oh oh. It's time to kick it with the Casey's. You're tuned into the Casey crew.
What up, y'all? It's DJ Envy.
And I am Gia Casey.
And this is another edition of the Casey crew.
Welcome. Hello, beautiful people.
I just want to tell you I have a new nickname.
And that would be?
Mr. Sephora. I've been in Sephora the last week a little too much, and I'm tired of Sephora. I know where everything is, so for fellas out there that don't know what Sephora is.
More importantly, for all of you girls, today we're recording on the 11th. This should be out by the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
If you're watching it now, you would have missed the sale, but the sale just ended yesterday, the 11th, and 20% off if you're a VIB Rouge and...
Whatever that means. But all I know now, at night, I have to put on moisturizer. And in the morning, I have to put on moisturizer with SPF. And I had to make sure I didn't burn my eyes. So Gia rubbed it on my eyes to make sure. I don't know. All I know is I think a lot of this face stuff is scams. I really do.
So now you really want to argue.
Because when I go
Because half of your income goes to my skin
believe me, I
regimen.
When I come home in the middle of the day and Gia has on a mask looking like R2-D2 or looking like a robot, an iRobot with the thing on her mask, the thing on her lips, the thing on her chest. I'm like, what is this? This is just another device they use to tell you that it works. This one shoots red light. This one shoots blue light. This one shoots green light. Red light, green light, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Who knows? But
it's only red and blue light.
Yes, but anyway.
It's scientifically proven to work. Preventative. It's preventative devices.
Whatever. Which brings me into our topic of this week, which is happy wife, happy family.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Now this conversation...
Well, clearly I'm going to like that topic.
Of course. Now this conversation comes from a gentleman that actually said this. Run the tape, S.
If you want to have happy children, have a happy marriage. That is the most important thing you can do for your children. If it's a choice between going to Dylan's soccer game and taking your wife to dinner, take your wife to dinner. Your kids will benefit from that much more than anything you could do for them. Make your wife happy, and your children will be happy and secure. What they want is security, predictability, knowing that at the center of the family is an immovable rock called this marriage, this love between man and wife. I think it's that simple.
That's great advice. Thank you.
It's worked for me.
You know how many people that's probably going to help? That's amazing.
Now that you've just seen this tape, I don't necessarily agree with this gentleman has said.
I'd like to hear why.
If you just watch the tape, he says, instead of going to Timmy's soccer game, and take your wife out to eat instead of going to Timmy's soccer game, because if your wife's happy, your family will be happy. I don't understand that.
Okay. Explain your position.
If you don't go to Timmy's soccer game, yes, your wife will be happy, but your son or your daughter will be traumatized that you didn't make it to their game and you put their mother over him. He'll probably never like you. And then when you get old, he'll probably put you in an old folks home and make you change your own pamper when you're 80 years old.
Okay. I don't think that he was being...
That's what he said. He said directly.
I know that that's what he said.
What did you take from it?
I don't think that he was being specific, meaning if you have to take Timmy to his soccer game, neglect to do that and take your wife out instead.
That's what he said directly.
I know, but I think that it was a statement that he made to imply that it is vital to do things that strengthen the bond between you and your wife, because that will spill over into the happiness of your children. So he just said, if you have to take your kid to a soccer game and your wife is expecting you to take her out that same night, take her out instead. I don't think that he means specifically, because if we were getting into it, we could say, well, then if both of you are free, you both can go to Timmy's soccer game. It was actually Dylan. You could both go to Dylan's soccer game. So I think that that's obvious. I think that it was just a way for him to appeal to people to understand that nurturing the home, nurturing the wife, nurturing the relationship is very important. And I think it goes both ways. I think keeping daddy happy as well is just as important. But I think that And that's not the only Instagram post that I've seen with that message. So maybe recently there was a study and there's a lot of people that are commenting on that idea. And I think that people are more so directing the point towards the mother, towards the wife, because the mother is inherently the nurturer of the home. So many things as far as emotional things within the household. Sometimes even like mental thing, all of that not all of it, but a lot of it falls upon the shoulders of the mother. I think that you would agree that that's how it goes here, right? I handle the children's emotional needs, some of their mental needs, because inherently, because I'm a woman, I'm more inclined to be patient. I'm more inclined to be nurturing. So if I'm emotionally available to my children because my emotions are intact, then that is going to benefit the children. If I am sad, if I am depressed, if I am detached, if I am stressed, then clearly I'm not going to be as emotionally available to my children to my fullest potential, which means that they're going to suffer. They're not as inclined to lean on daddy for those needs. And those are needs that are often neglected, often overlooked, often oversimplified in a lot of homes, but especially for little boys. You know, for boys, it's always like, toughen up, or, you know, you can take that, or brush it off, or things like that. You expect your boy to be tough, but a lot of times your boy needs to be nurtured. Your boy needs his back rubbed, and he needs a good talking to. He needs, you know, to lay down on the bed with someone, usually the mom, and unload and tell his mom his problems and things like that. Now, if the dad is able to do those things too, it's a grand slam in the home, but usually it falls on the shoulders of the mom. So I think that that's why that idea is more focused towards the happiness and the mental health of the mom. Hence the term, you said happy wife, happy family, but happy wife, happy life. I think there's really something to it, but it doesn't mean to neglect the needs and the happiness and the emotional security of the father or dad as well.
I will say I agree and I disagree. I do agree that when not just the wife, but when the wife and the husband or the mother and father are happy, I think it brings a happiness around the family. I think once those kids, I know a lot of times we think kids are younger or immature, but I think they could pick up on exactly what's happening out there. So I do agree if the mom is the one that's the caretaker, and not caretaker as fully caretaker, but usually the mom is the one that's taking the kids to school or making sure the kids are doing their homework or they're emotionally and mentally. I feel like if the mother is happy, I feel like it'll bleed through to the kids. I feel the same way with the father. If the father is happy or a couple is happy, I feel like that bleeds through to the kids. I never understood, and I couldn't understand because I've never been in that situation, when a couple doesn't see eye to eye and they're breaking up and there's a friction between them, right? And the friction always goes down and trickles down to the kids. I always felt like they should try their hardest, if it could be, because I know a lot of times there's emotions involved, to get on the same page. Because once that mom is happy, whether it's financially, whether it's mostly, whether it's getting the closure she wants or she needs, it'll make things better for the kids. What I didn't like, what I didn't like what he said was, I did not like when he says, hey, you go to Dylan's. If it's between going to Dylan's game or taking your wife out to eat, you take your wife out to eat. I don't agree with that either. And the reason I don't agree with that, I think a lot of times we forget about what that support does for kids. Just being there, what that means for kids. For instance, this Halloween, I dressed up as a turtle and I went to all the kids' school. Estat actually went with me. And just to see the kids' faces, just to see that dad pulled up was like no other. You know, Brooklyn seeing me, she was happy, but Peyton was the one. Now, Peyton's 2, she's about to be 3. And when we pulled up, Estat, I tell you, her friend was like, I told you your dad was coming. I told you your dad was coming. And when she seen me, she lit up. Even though I was dressed like a turtle, maybe she seen my sneakers, but she knew it was me,
Ninja turtle.
And she was so excited. Like she was jumping up and down and she told her friend, my daddy's here. My daddy's here. It was the fact that daddy was here. Daddy pulled up. Now it was sad because her friend's parents didn't pull up, but she was just so happy to see her father because her dad pulled up, or if you would have went, or Irma, she would have been happy to see a loved one when she was out there singing her songs. Now, I really messed up because she didn't want to sing no songs. The whole time she was blowing me kisses and waving at me and all that other stuff. But
You have video?
I think we do have a little video, but her hair is a little crazy in that video, though, right? Her hair was a little crazy in the video. No matter. But she was very, very happy and excited. But that's just to say that it doesn't matter that we're in the same house every day. It doesn't matter that she sleeps with daddy and she kicks me out the bed every night. It doesn't matter that, we watch football on Sundays and I watch her show with her. None of that mattered. What mattered was daddy was here. It was like, daddy, she hasn't seen me in years. And when she seen me, she was just so excited because I pulled up. So I don't agree with that. I do agree with, yes, you make your wife happy and there's things that you might have to do to sacrifice on both sides. Like if I'm going to the game or taking my wife to eat, yes, I would go take my wife to eat, right? Because the game is more something for myself, not for the kids. Same thing with my wife. If it was my wife saying she wanted to go to an all-girls night out or to hang with me to do something I enjoy, yes, you make your husband happy. But I would never sacrifice something my kids are doing for my spouse. Because if it's truly your spouse, she should understand what that means for your kids. So I do see that.
So when you were just talking, something occurred to me. And you were saying that if it was a choice between you going to a game and taking me out, you would take me out.
Of course.
If there is this energy, this synergy, this reciprocity in the relationship, and you're genuinely happy, neither side would ever really have to make that sacrifice. Because I wouldn't want you to sacrifice going to the game to take me out.
Right.
I'm going to want you to go and do something that you enjoy so you can have your personal time, your personal fun, spend, bonding time with your guys or your sons or whatever it is. It's when the relationship is lacking, when there's a deficit somewhere that you need to compensate in other ways. But when the relationship itself is solid, as he spoke of, and unshakable and nurtured, then you don't need to prove yourself to your spouse because it's inherently there. It's naturally there. Everything feels good. Like when you think about it, when's the last time that you had to sacrifice something that you loved to make me happy? Real question.
I sacrifice all the time. You might not know, but I sacrifice all the time. And when I mean, but it's not really a sacrifice, and I'll explain why.
I'm talking about a sacrifice in this type of example, like not doing something that you love to spend time with me.
It's difficult because not to sound like a sucker or sound like a riding your nuts.
My nuts?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I don't.
Seems like it might feel good.
But I never have to sacrifice anything because I enjoy it. Like some people will say, I'd rather go to the game or I'd rather do this or I'd rather do that. For me, I'd rather spend time with my wife. I'd rather spend time with my kids.
Me too.
And it's not like because I have to, because I'm going to hear her mouth. No, I actually enjoy it. Like Sundays is one of my favorite days. And it's not because, it's a weekend. It's because usually the kids have nothing and everybody's in the same house and we just get to do things together. Like Sunday morning, a ritual for us is cooking breakfast, right? I usually cook breakfast on Sunday morning, right? So London comes down, she cracks the eggs. Jackson comes down, he gets the cheese. Brooklyn comes down, she gets, the waffles and pancakes, and we make breakfast together. So it makes them feel happy. So that's one of my favorite times. And then lunchtime is, Dad, can you cook one of your famous burgers?
Yeah.
And then we cook the burgers and then they sit and they help me, sprinkle the seasoning on the burgers. And,
Salt Bay?
Yeah, Salt Bay burgers. And they enjoy it. And then they help me clean up everything. So like, that's our little thing every Sunday. And I enjoy that over everything. I enjoy that over going to an amusement park. I enjoy that over going to soccer. I enjoy that because it's just us. And we all get a kick out of it. You know what I mean? So for myself, it's like, I don't have to sacrifice anything.
That's what I was saying.
I don't have to.
Right.
If I want to go to the game,
sacrifice.
If I want to go to the game, I go to the game. Or, I take my wife to the game, or I take my son if he's into it to the game. I don't have to sacrifice anything. So I wouldn't. But one thing that I will say too, that I think we need to get back to, and I think this is what made the world a little softer. I think little boys, and this is I know a lot of you are probably gonna hate me for this. I think little boys need to be little boys and need to be raised by their fathers, right? What you said was somebody said, "Hey, little boy, if they fall, don't cry, man up." I think that's part of the reason why this society is a lot softer, right? And although I do feel like that young boys and young girls need to be able to talk and they need to be able to express their feelings and they do need to be able to cry, but also I think they do need to man up. I think they have to understand that, and this is how I look at it. If you don't feel the same way, it is what it is. I feel like little boys need to know their jobs growing up. And when I mean their jobs growing up, I mean, it's like.
Hold on 1 second. That's not just said that. I just said that to you. When did you say that to me? You said
my son. Right.
Oh, okay. You mean that's what you were getting to before we started filming? Okay, yeah.
Right,
I was telling.
I have no idea what they're talking about, but like
something. Yes.
Like for instance, yes, I feel like little boys need to be emotional and be able to express their feelings, but I also feel like they need to be, I want to say, no, not just tough, but I think they need to prepare themselves for being a young man, right? Meaning, Jackson did something the other day that made me so proud, right? And you were laughing at me, right? But I'm going to tell you why it made me so proud. They went to a little a park, like a jump park or whatever it was, amusement park, not with rides, but like jumpies and hanging things. And a little boy first gave London the middle finger. And then through one of the, I guess the hanging things.
It's like those padded cylinders where there's a lot of them. Like, like at the car wash, it's like, so it's like these padded cylinders that hang from the ceiling.
And hit her with the padded cylinder in her face, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what made me so proud was when Jackson seen that, Jackson chased the little boy down and was like, you better go apologize.
Yeah, he brought him back to apologize.
You go apologize to my
London.
sister.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I liked it is because it showed him being a protector. Not a provider, but a protector.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think, and that's what I want from him. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's cool to be emotional and cry and all that other stuff, but I also want him to be a protector. I want him to know that this is his family as well. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is my family, this is Logan's family, but this is his family, this is Mommy's family. We protect each other. Mm-hmm. We ride for each other. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's going to be things out there and people that's going to say things that's going to hurt you, and you take those on the chin. When you come home, if you need to cry, you cry here, but you need to protect your family. And it made me proud that he went there and he got that kid and he made that kid go back and apologize. Now there's like a curve to the story. The kid was only 4 years old, but still.
That's why I laughed. When he said Gia's going to think this is funny, but yeah.
Jackson's 9.
But the little kid at 4 years old gave her the middle finger.
That's right. It doesn't matter. You want that beef? All right, Jackson, go ahead, make an apology. But it was outside the fact that the kid was 4. It was the fact that Jackson he was ready to rock and roll for his sister.
He's like, anybody could get it.
Anybody could get it. But that's what needs to be taught.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes, you fall, you do cry. But no, get your ass up, shake it off, wiggle it off, and keep it moving. I think we missed that as a society. I think the society has been to a place where everybody could be so soft and you can cry and, you fall off a bike and then you could express to your mom why it hurt and how it made you feel and how it's triggering anytime you see a bike. I think a lot of that is bullshit. Little bro, if you don't get up off your fucking ass, wipe that thing off and put a Band-Aid on it, some A&D ointment and keep it moving, that's what I think we need more of, right? It's just me. All that sensitive and playing Maxwell while we're talking about our feelings, I just think a lot of that's weak. You got to man the fuck up. And then, if it hurts, it hurts. But you got to be able to shake things off because this life is unforgiving. This life, a lot of times, ain't nobody going to care. If you get fired, you lost your job, nobody's going to say, give me a hug or so back. No, they're going to say, get your ass back up and go and do it again. And I think a lot of times we miss that.
Yes. I don't think that anybody would really disagree. I think what you're talking about is having a good emotional balance. You don't want a son that's tough and tough talking all the time. And you don't want a son that's crying all the time
Correct.
over every little thing that happens.
Correct.
So I think that you probably think that society is leaning more towards the softness and you're saying, let's get it back centered.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
So,
but I also feel like with my girls too.
What do you mean?
I want my girls to be a little tough too.
Okay. I mean, I think that's important.
Right. Not as tough as you are, but I want them to be tough.
What do you mean not as tough as I am?
Like, you're tough. Like, I don't want a pit bull. I want like a German Shepherd. Like, I want to, like, you're like, you ready to bark and you cry. You ain't gonna show nobody you cry. You cry. You be like, I gotta go to the bathroom. You don't have to cry. Like, I don't want that. But
You don't want that?
For my daughters, no. I don't want to.
This is becoming a trend.
No, I don't.
I need CPR.
I don't. Go.
Where's the defibrillator?
Defibrillator. But I don't want that for my girls.
Wait, hold on. You see that as a negative thing?
As far as what? That they don't show emotion?
As far as what I just said?
Yeah.
Hold on, now you think I don't show emotion?
Not too much.
What do you mean?
I've probably seen you cry maybe and I've known you 31 years, maybe 5 times. That's crazy. You see me cry probably a couple times a year. Maybe 5 times a year. Like, that's crazy. I think a lot of times.
So you think that's a negative thing?
I do.
Why? It's not as though I'm having emotions and I'm not letting them out. I'm not penting.
I think you are.
You think I'm penting in my emotions?
Yes.
Why do you think that? This is very interesting.
I think that when you do have emotions, especially with somebody you love, you should be able to express those emotions. You won't express those emotions.
You think I don't express emotions with you?
No, you don't. Like you should? No, I don't think so.
I need a little bit of a deep dive in
Okay.
this. This is the first time that Rashawn has said anything like this to me.
I think that when things bother you or affect you, you hold it in and you don't let it go so you don't cry. Like, it's weird. It's like, for instance, right? Let's say something happened that's wrong or foul with us. You won't tear, you won't show emotion, you won't cry, you just hold it in. And you'll almost be off where I can see you're off. Maybe you're looking into space and you won't show your emotion. Now, when it comes to the 5 times I seen Gia cry was when her mom passed,
When my father passed.
when your pops passed, probably something we seen on TV about somebody dying, a young kid being strangled, raped, and something like that.
I cried last week about something.
What'd you cry about?
We were laying in the bed and I cried about something.
What was it about? Something you seen on television?
I don't remember.
Something she seen.
But do you remember? I was crying. I think something happened to I found out something about a very close friend of mine.
Yeah, you cried. Yeah, you did cry for that. But then even with that, it's like she cried. It was on her mind heavy for like 30, 40 minutes. And then she never mentioned it again. It was almost like, I cannot keep this on me because it makes me weak. And you never mentioned it again. Never brought it back up. That's who you are as a person. You don't allow your emotions to go. You don't express your emotions.
You're wrong.
Okay.
I understand that that's what you think is happening. Hold on, that's funny to you? What's funny to you? I think that this is what you think is happening inside of me.
No.
But
let me just cut you off.
Okay.
Just remember, I know you better than you know yourself.
You've said this for years, but it
know
is
you better
not
than-
true.
Okay.
I know me better than you know me.
You think you don't.
I
but
think
don't.
you think that
No, I
you
do.
know me
I know
better
when you're sad.
than-
I know when you're crying. I know when you have a
all
tear.
5 times.
No, all 5 times you cried in front of me. Like, there's times when you'll tear up and then you'll turn on the bed the other way so I don't see you and I know a tear is coming down. I know every time that you I know when you start to cry when something bothers you on television and you run in the bathroom. We'll be watching something sad on television, right? And she won't want to cry in the bed. She'll go to the bathroom and I know she's tearing in the bathroom and then she comes back up like, go ahead.
This is all true.
I know.
This is all true. But what you think is happening within me is not what's happening within me. You said that I look off and how did you put it? Like I'm spacing out because I'm plotting how I'm going to mask how I'm feeling inside. That's how I took
I
it.
feel like so you don't cry or you don't show emotions.
No.
You know it's okay to cry.
I do think that it's okay to cry. And I actually think that it's very strong to cry.
Like, you're proud of the fact that you only cried 5 times in 31 years.
I'm not proud of that.
Okay.
What makes you think that I'm proud of that? See, these are just things. These are
You
just
should be like, I only cried 5 times, right, Rashawn? You can count it on your hands. That's
this is not a conversation that we've ever had. He assumes that I'm proud of that. But I think that's just what your overview of me is. That you see me as a strong individual, so you assume that I'd be proud of the fact that I don't cry much, however many times it's been. It doesn't really matter, right? But it's not that. It's that. And we've talked about this. I know that I am quote unquote weird in the sense that I am able to control my emotions.
Mhm.
And I know that that's not a normal thing. And I know that most people aren't necessarily able to do that. But I am in control of my emotions. And I'm in control of my thoughts. I'm in control of my reactions. And when you see me look off, you guys might have even seen me do it on the podcast. Maybe like while Rashawn is talking, my attention may go off of his face and I may look off. And it's because I'm thinking and I'm processing and I might be isolating something that he said. And in that moment, I might be doing my own little deep dive into what do I actually think about that? Or how am I processing that? Or what sense am I making of what he said? I feel as though being overly emotional is counterproductive because when you're very emotional, it stands in the way of reason. I don't get hurt that much. And this is true. Since I was younger, I've always identified hurt as someone else's actions or their thoughts, their opinions, their values, whatever, being able to affect me in a way that debilitates me.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I look at the word hurt. So in a sense, I disallow myself from being hurt. But it doesn't mean that I'm not processing what it is that's happening. It's that I'm regulating my reaction to it. I can process it intellectually. I can understand what all is going on, but I am not going to allow myself to respond at a deficit because of someone else's actions or because someone else, for instance, said something mean to me. You know, so if someone says something mean to me, the way that I might process it is, okay, that is how you feel. You have a right to feel how you feel. I may not feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, I am not going to intake those not so nice words or those not so nice thoughts and allow it to affect me in a way that's not conducive to my happiness. Now, I can process it. Now, let's say that the thing that they said that wasn't nice, let's say there's truth to it.
Mm-hmm.
I can say, I don't like it. I will not be hurt by it, but I'm going to apply what you said to my life because if I do so, then I'm a better person for it. But I'm not going to allow myself to be hurt. And it can be because I've always looked at that as a weakness. But I think that when you look at it in a deep dive fashion, it is a weakness because it weakens you. When you're hurt, you're weakened in a sense. It doesn't mean that you're a weak person. It just means that you're weakened.
So what's wrong with that? I think that builds character. I think that builds strength. Like, it almost seems like...
I think applying what you've learned, the lesson that you've learned from the interaction, from the situation, that strengthens you. Because there's lessons in everything. Okay, for instance, when I pray, so every day, Rashawn, before he leaves for work, he prays with me.
Mm-hmm.
He comes to my side of the bed, he kneels, he says a prayer, and then he leaves. I go back to sleep because that's very early in the morning. When I wake up and I say my prayer, I thank God for my life, meaning my ability to live and breathe, because there are so many people that are not afforded that advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Sad things happen every day. So I'm very, very grateful for my ability to live and breathe. Second, I thank him for my life, meaning the life that we have created, my husband, my children, our home, our existence together as a fruitful family. And I thank him for all of the wonderful things. And I thank him for all of the negative things. Every horrible, negative thing that I've ever been through, I thank him, I thank him, I thank him for all of that. Because with every negative, nasty, dirty, disgusting thing that has ever happened to me, and there have been many, I have learned. And there was a lesson in each and every one of those things, and it has built character and it has built strength. And I don't take that character or that strength for granted at all in any way, shape, or form. And I carry those lessons with me and I apply them to my life every day. And that's where a lot of the strength comes from. A lot of people will hate the fact that they went through all of these horrible things. But I look at it differently. And it's because I choose to look at it differently. And I find the positive in everything. You always tell me that maybe I'm too optimistic. Because a lot of times when something bad happens, I feel that Rashawn sometimes will look at the glass half empty. I always look at the glass half full. I always am expecting a wonderful turnout, something positive to happen. Don't worry about it. It will be all right. We will fix it. It'll be fine. Don't worry. I'm never worried. And my attitude or my approach to life is probably the reason why I'm so low stress. I'm very low stress because of it. And it's because I'm determining my own personal outcome. So it's not that I'm not emotional. I feel all of those emotions. I just know how to channel it for the positive instead of allowing it to take away from my existence.
You know, it's okay to let it go sometimes. If you just want to let it go, it's okay.
What makes you think, now where's that coming from?
I'm just telling you, it's okay.
What are you talking about though? I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just telling you that if you ever feel like you have to cry, it's okay to.
Babe, I cried in front of you the other night.
I know, I'm just saying.
I have no problem with crying. What I think you're not understanding is that what I think... I bet you asked us thinking about what alien emoji or what alien graphic he's going to add right here. I don't feel the need to. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. You don't understand.
I do understand.
I don't feel the need to. And it's because I'm in touch with who I am inside. It's not that I think that it's weak to cry. It's not because I feel these emotions and I don't want to let it out because I want to appear strong or tough. It's not that at all. Okay. If I have the need to cry, I will, and I have. I just don't feel the need to often. Okay. I'm wondering if you guys understand me. Okay, I want to ask them a question. This might be a little old, maybe a month, 6 weeks old or whatever, but I just finished watching the Menendez brothers. I had to leave him behind. What? I had to leave him behind. I've been trying to watch it. I wanted to have it finished 6 weeks ago, but he keeps falling asleep on me. So we were trying to watch it last night and he fell asleep and I was only an episode and a half until it was over. And I'm like, dude, I'm just going to have to leave you. I'll watch it again with you because I need to finish it. And I finished it. And then after that, so that was called Monster. Like Monsters, whatever, the Menendez brothers story. And then after that, also on Netflix, I watched the Menendez brothers, which was like a documentary film, like maybe less than 2 hours or whatever, kind of recapping everything that happened in the series that I watched. I don't know which one came first. Anyway, just in the comments, share with me, if you guys saw it, do you think that they were abused by their parents or not? I'm just curious. I just want to know what you guys think because I was on the fence, but I'm leaning one way. I do think that they were abused and I have my reason for thinking that. I just want to know what you guys think. That's all. Okay.
Yeah, let me know because tonight I'm going to watch.
You guys are our friends. You guys have been rocking with us for years. I feel like I can ask you a question like you're my friends, right? Like I called up my friend Apollonia and I was like, girl, what do you think? Because she finished before me.
All right.
All right.
First of all, I just want to say happy birthday to our daughter Madison because Madison's birthday is tomorrow. So happy birthday, Maddie.
Which means no. Well, technically, when you guys are seeing this, it's probably today.
The podcast comes out tomorrow. Yes. So happy birthday, Maddie. I want to get to pillow talk.
Okay.
What up, y'all? It's DJ Envy. Are you a dad like me? You take your kids everywhere. You feel like a Lyft or Uber driver, and they use your car for everything, even changing. And sometimes your car might smell a little crazy. When I'm talking change, I'm talking about cleats. I'm talking jerseys. I'm talking food. I'm talking tap shoes. Well, if you want your car to smell clean, use Azuna. Now, Azuna Odor Freshener will not just make your car smell clean, it fights the problem. It gets to the root of everything. And you ain't gotta worry about it wasting after time because they have refills as well. Hello. So make sure you check out Azuna. Go to Azuna Fresh on Instagram or Amazon and order your Azuna now.
What's in, what's out, what's up, what's down, who's trending? I wanna know now. Can we talk? Can we pillow talk now? Can we talk? Let's pillow talk now.
Now, in some weird pillow talk news, I seen that Lamar Odom went and got a sex doll, which is not that weird. Whatever he's into, he's into. But the sex doll looked like his ex, Khloe Kardashian.
That popped up on my news break. It didn't say that it was a sex doll. It just said a life-size.
Sex doll.
Is it actually a sex doll?
Yes, it's a life-size sex doll. Yes.
No, I thought it was like a Madame Tussauds type of doll, like a wax figure or like a porcelain figure.
It's a sex doll.
Stop
it's a sex
it.
doll.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did. Yeah. What do you think about it? Do you think that's a little weird?
Do I think it's a little weird? I think it's all of the weird.
See?
Like,
Wow.
if you could muster up all the weird in the world and throw it into a single situation, that's what I think that this is.
Wow.
Why do I think it's...
I'm going to tell you.
Why do I think that it's utterly weird to get a sex doll that replicates your ex-wife?
I'm going to tell you why. At first, I was like, this is very weird, but I don't think it's that weird now.
Why do you not think it's weird?
I actually think it's weird that he said something about it, and I'm going to tell you why.
He doesn't think it's weird that
Think about it like this.
It's weird that he told people.
No, that's the weird part. Lamar Odom has said 1,000,001 times, and he's from Queens, New York. Shout out to Queens. He said 1,000,000.
Queens?
I think he's from the South Side.
Oh.
He said 1,000,001 times that Khloe Kardashian was the love of his life, right?
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want him back. He's tried. So it's like, okay, right? So now, instead of going to brothels where, remember he was in a brothel and almost died in a brothel and all that?
He almost died in the brothel?
Yeah, he OD'd.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So for him, he wants to have sex. So if he wants to have sex with a doll, and that was the love of his life, why would he make the doll look like Janet Jackson if this love of his life is Khloe Kardashian?
I think the question is, why would he be wanting to have a sex with a doll in the first place?
What? Because maybe he does not, he hasn't found the one, right? And he doesn't want to just, fuck random people. He doesn't want to jerk his meat and wants to feel like he's having sex. So he created a sex doll that looks like Khloe Kardashian. I don't have a problem with that. Because if me and you broke up and I needed a sex doll, guess what the sex doll is going to look like? Guess what a sex doll is going to look like? I'm going to have him put on your same makeup, your same lipstick and everything. I'm going to have him spray it. Whatever perfume you use, the same perfume and everything. Same lotion you use and everything.
It's going to rub it down on that latex.
Here's
Make
what it
that
is.
latex nice and soft.
If I want a sex doll,
Juicy.
I don't want a sex doll that looks like Betty White. I want a sex doll that looks like somebody that I love. So
I think you meant Betty Boop.
I meant Betty White, the old white lady. Yeah.
Why would she even be?
She's popped in my mind. I don't want a sex doll that looks like her.
I don't think anybody wants a sex doll that looks like Betty White.
I'm sure somebody does. But I would want a sex doll that looks like you. And if it looks like you, I just wouldn't tell nobody. Like you just be in the closet, somebody open the closet, hey, oh shit.
I think we need to scale back a little bit. Sex dolls are crazy as bleep.
Why?
Sex dolls?
Why?
I think sex dolls are reserved for people who cannot have sex.
And
Meaning their pickings are really, really slim.
or
Like there's something about them where they cannot, it is extremely difficult for them to find a significant other to engage in sexual relations
you're
with.
thinking about this all wrong.
I think that they might be tired of the same old way of getting off. So
No.
they would like something life-size that they can engage with. I think that those people should be very few and far between. I don't think for someone like Lamar Odom, who I'm sure that he can find
But maybe he doesn't
someone.
want to. Maybe he doesn't feel comfortable or safe with anybody. In this day and age, it's hard to date.
I feel like
because
he's playing with me.
I don't. You never know.
He's playing with us.
I'm not.
He's definitely playing
I
with
am
us.
not. You never know who you're going with, right? Because nowadays, if you flirt with the wrong person, if you say something, if you go on a date, you never know what somebody's looking for. And I always feel
You mean for someone in the public eye?
someone in the public eye.
Specifically.
So I always say it's always a 50-50 chance, right? You don't know what they're there for. You might have sex with somebody, they can pop up and be like, I said no, and it's your word versus his word. But not only that, that could really just destroy anything that you're trying to do. If you have sex with somebody and they be like, you know what, I'm just going to say this person rape me, or whatever it may be. We can go that far or not. So for himself, he might be a little freaky, but like, I want sex every
But
night.
the doll can't accuse anybody.
Right. But just like you said, the doll to you is a little weird. He might say your rose is a little weird.
There we go. All roads lead back to the rose.
Yeah. I mean, he might say the same thing. So give that man his sex doll that looks like Khloe Kardashian, and he's like, give that woman that rose.
So under what circumstances did he release this information?
I don't know how it was out, but it was on IG and I seen it and I was like, wow.
And do you think it was a credible source, or do you think it was just...
I think they had pictures and things like that. I didn't dive into it because it was not a subject that I was like...
saw it on Newsbreak and I sent it to you, but I never read the story. I was just like, wait, what is this? And I sent it to you.
Well, that's it. So just know that if me and you ever break up, I'm getting a sex doll that looks just like you.
You're going to have like padlocks on the closet. So so nobody can tell. Huh?
I don't know how much you pay for. You want one? He needs to how much did you pay for? You want one?
I'm sure they have
How much you pay for it? $9,000 and $20,000.
Between 9 and 20.
You got it.
What kind of sex doll? What kind of sex doll is this?
I mean, it's made to look exactly like, and the vagina is the same way and everything.
What's it made out of? $9,000 and $20,000. What is like? Okay, I'm not interested.
Well, that was that. But anyway, let's get to the email of the week. I'm gonna get a sex doll that looks just like you.
If you don't know what to do or think, put it in a letter, just send it. We'll read it in the email of the week. The email of the week.
Booty hole and all. All right, what's up, Gia and Envy? Call me Lindsay for the sake of this email. My husband and I have been married for 8 years and together since I was 16 and he was 18. We're in our late 30s. We have a teenage son together that's a junior in high school. My husband and I celebrated our anniversary a couple of months ago. My husband worked on our anniversary, which was fine, and we went to dinner that night, which was great. To me, the day felt just like any other day and not our anniversary. I expressed this to my husband the next day and things went left. He could tell I wasn't feeling it because my body language and honestly my vibe was off, so he knew before I told him. The problem is my husband doesn't put in thought into anything when it comes to me. I don't feel special to him. I've expressed it to him several times and every time it turns into an argument. I've expressed that I want to experience a date night every now and again and that I enjoy the simple things like sweet text messages, flowers, etc. When I mentioned the date nights, he basically told me I could plan them too, which I agree with and I'm willing to do for him, and I have done. I feel like we're drifting apart and we're approaching an empty nest soon, which scares me. I expressed my fear and there's no reassurance. In fact, he seems scared as well. I'm concerned that we may just be hanging on for the sake of our son, and I'm not sure what to do. The night of our anniversary, this man asked me if I wanted to stop by the store to pick out flowers. Like, what the fuck? I would have enjoyed them had he just taken out the time to pick them, but he only asked me because he saw my mood once I realized he had nothing special planned. He buys me gifts and leaves them in the mailbox. No bag, no wrapping, or anything. I will say he did better this year on that. I feel bored with him at times. When I bring up how I wanted to be loved, he basically tells me I can initiate those things. Between me and y'all, it feels like he thinks he's the woman in the relationship. Like, I get that he wants to receive things as well, but I want those things because that's how I receive love. He's asking for those things just because. It won't even be received the same. Make sense? I've done special things for him in the past to make him feel special. Scavenger hunts, decorated rooms, gigantic cards expressing my feeling, taking him to the events that only he's interested in, etc. I just don't know what to do. Sorry for the long email, but I'm afraid if we don't date and show intimacy with each other now, we surely won't once my son leaves the house and heads to college. That will be a tough transition already, and we need a strong and stable foundation to sustain it since it's been the three of us for so long. I really enjoy listening to y'all, and I love the dynamic of your family. Be blessed.
Thank you. Strong and stable.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny because I know that you didn't do this on purpose, but this really relates back to our opening topic because she feels taken for granted. She feels as though they don't date enough. He puts no effort into the relationship, no effort into making her happy, no effort into making her feel special. So now there's this divide. It's this crack that's just going to keep getting more and more open until they're on separate sides of the earth from one another. And had he just put more effort into those things to create the stability, that unshakable rock, the home would be happier. Their son would be happier. Their life would be happier as a result. And it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. Why do you think it is that men in particular neglect to do those things? And I'm only specifying men because she clearly stated and gave examples that she does do those things. She has done those things. She's not against continuing doing those things, but clearly she doesn't want to keep doing it because he's not doing the same.
I will say this. A lot of times men fall off on the things that they did early on because I just think it's a creature of nature. Meaning it is what it is. It's like, it's going to sound so fucked up. I think a lot of times men do things to court, right? To make a woman feel special, to get that woman. Then once they get that woman, it's almost like, I got her, she's not going anywhere. So you forget about doing those special things because you think like it doesn't mean as much anymore. I already got her. I don't have to get flowers anymore. She's my wife already. She knows how much I love her. I don't have to take her out on Friday. She's my wife. She knows how much I love her. She knows I'm tired. She's tired. We're just going to stay at home. I don't have to do, anything special on anniversary. We go to a restaurant on anniversary. We don't have to do anything special because we do it all the time. And, she's my wife. She'll understand. I don't think men do it because they want to be like, yo, fuck you, bitch. Get the fuck out of here. I don't think it's like that. I think it's one of those things where it's almost like taking for granted, but not feeling that way because they're looking at it as, that's my wife. Like, for instance, right? Nobody does this now, but when I was in high school, in college, I would write you letters all the time, right? All the time. Write you letters all the time. If I'm thinking about you, I'll write you a letter, right? I don't write you letters.
I still have all of those.
Believe me, I know.
I have every letter that you have ever written me. There has to be hundreds. And guess what? Sidebar, your mom the other day gave me the bag of all the letters that I wrote you that you kept, that she found in your old room. It's in a white gift bag with a big red heart. I guess one Valentine's Day, probably the gift I gave you, put all the letters in that bag, and I still have it.
See?
I might show you guys one day.
But you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Esnat saw them.
So some of the letters?
Actually, I'm sorry to interrupt. I actually have something that I've had since college. It's called the Gia and Rashawn box. I actually gave it to you for one anniversary. So it's a wooden box and it has a little gold plaque on it that says, it has the engravement, Gia and Rashawn. And inside, it's like all of our memories, all the cards, special little objects that have some type of significant meaning to it that I've kept for years and years. Many, many of the letters that you wrote me in high school that I used to leave in my locker and things of that nature. Yeah, I might show you guys. Oh, a scavenger. Something, my ears went up when she said scavenger hunt, because I did show Estat, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, right? A scavenger hunt. One Valentine's Day, I did a scavenger hunt for you at my house. Do you remember? You remember the scavenger hunt? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll show you guys one.
But like I was saying, so I did we did all that stuff when we were younger, right? In our 20s. But then what happens? Then you start having kids and then you start having bills. And then the focus lessens on the relationship and life be lifing. So then you want to make sure that you can pay for that kid's high school. You could pay for that kid's basketball AAU tournament or lacrosse or soccer or football or whatever sports he's playing. Then you're thinking about how's he going to play for college. So you start thinking about other things, right? And then you're always thinking, this is my baby. The love hasn't changed. I still love her. But you forget to show her how much you love her and how much you care. And just like you have to teach a dog how to, not to pee outside, you have to remain with that. Meaning, if I leave the dog in here for 10 hours, yes, for the first, couple of weeks, he's not going to pee inside. But if I don't give him the ability to go outside, he has to be retrained over and over and over. It's the truth. They got to be retrained. Same thing with a dog that bites. He has to be trained when to do it. If he doesn't do it, he loses the commands. And I think that's the same thing with relationships. You have to continue on that thing because you don't. In the last 20 years, I've never thought about writing you a letter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because I don't feel it. It's because I text. You know what I mean?
Send me a love text.
I send you a love text. You know what I mean? Baby, I love you. Or every time we have an amazing night sexually, I always call you the next morning and say, babe, I had a great night. It was da-da-da-da-da, right?
And it doesn't get old.
It doesn't get old.
Yeah.
But I think it just has to get back to that. He has to realize what it is that affects you. And I don't think he is falling out of love with you. I don't think he wants to take you for granted. I just think life be lifing sometimes.
I think he does want to take her for granted because she's expressed to him how she feels and the toll that it's taking on the marriage. And instead of looking introspectively and saying to himself, how can I do better? He turns around and puts it on her. Well, you could do those things for me. What, I'm not deserving of those things? So why don't you initiate it? First of all, I'm not the man. That's number one. And you could just tell by the little side conversation that we had, clearly I'm into doing romantic things for Rashawn as well. But I'm not the man. I'm going to do those things, but I feel as though it's more of a masculine role to take on doing the lion's share of the romantic gestures. Not all of it, but the lion's share of it. And there are things that I do solely because I am a woman that I don't expect him to do. Rashawn does not rub my back at night. I rub his back every night, and I don't expect him to do that. And it's because I'm a woman and I want to baby my husband in that way and make him feel like a sweet little baby, So there are just things, and you guys already know that I do believe in certain gender roles. So I don't think that he doesn't want to take her for granted. He knows that he's taking her for granted. She has let him know as much. You said that he has to be retrained. How do you suggest that a man who has fallen out of the habit of being loving, romantic, demonstrative, be retrained?
I will say this. I will say a lot of times, and I'm not going to say every man, but when you have a problem with something, right? And let's say it's Monday and you say you have a problem with it, right? And I say, okay. A lot of times I forget. What the fuck does you have a problem with on Monday? I'm like
not for nothing. I think that that's a you thing. I don't think that that's like a general, you just have a terrible memory. You might forget one of my gripes. I don't think that most men are forgetting their women's gripes. I think that they may have a sincere lack of interest in their gripes.
No, I think
but not because they're forgetting it.
I think they forget, and I'm gonna tell you why they forget. I think men always look at gripes as a priority, right? And when I mean a priority, it's like you might have a problem with me getting you flowers or taking you out.
Not getting me flowers.
Not getting you flowers, or let's say taking you out on a Friday. But I think a lot of times men will look at that as a priority, meaning, well, the first thing for us is we got to pay these bills. So if I'm working in overtime and I'm tired, fuck your flowers. Fuck your Friday night. I'm tired, motherfucker. I'm paying for these.
Bleep your anniversary?
Not
because it was their anniversary. He took her out on an average date, right? That's correct. He took her out on like an average date, something that didn't feel special, didn't think to get her a card or flowers. He could tell that she was in a mood because of it. And then on the way home, let's stop and get you some flowers. Pick out whatever you like.
He probably forgot. He probably forgot.
He didn't forget. That's not forgetting. That is him not caring enough to do so. That is what that is. Let's call a spade a spade.
I bet you he forgot.
He didn't forget.
I think a lot of men forget shit and then it's too late and they be like, oh shit, I forgot. Like he was probably like, he probably was running, all right, let's go out to eat. And then when they got to the restaurant, he probably
took her to the Olive Garden.
Whatever. But took her to the restaurant. And then when he got there, it was like, oh shit, I forgot flowers. Oh, fuck. And then on the way home, he seen her and was like,
we can stop and get flowers.
He shouldn't have did that. He shouldn't have been like,
you want some lilacs?
You want some flowers? What he should have did is he should have went to a grocery store, got the flowers, put it in the trunk, got home, and then ran upstairs with the flowers. He'd be like, I been got these. That's what he should have did.
Well, she was supposed to think that he was getting a can of Campbell's tomato soup from the supermarket.
He could have went and got whipped cream and said, hey, babe, it's going to be a special night tonight. I'm going to put this whipped cream all over your body.
And how is she supposed to not see him walking with the flowers to the car that he was going to throw? Okay, that was terrible.
I think about this.
That was terrible.
I think about that.
The point is, he should have been proactive.
He should have been proactive.
He's taking her for granted. So, you're going to ask me, what do I think?
What do you think?
Okay. I think you guys know me by now, right?
Nope.
Okay. I think that he has to suffer. And that's honestly what I think. That's honestly what I think. And that's not always the answer.
Right, gonna keep the vagina away from him?
No.
And then
I'm not. No.
You know what happens when you do that?
No.
He's gonna go get a Khloe Kardashian sex doll. He's gonna worry about it.
No, I don't. I'm not talking about specifically locking the box. That's so direct, and that's so if this then that. That's more childish. And not for nothing, like women have needs too. I know a woman who was going through the nastiest of divorces. Like their situation could be a 10-part podcast series just talking about what they're going through. But he's the world's worst, right? She's a nice girl. And she doesn't even lock the box in their situation because she has needs too. Sometimes she's like, yeah, I'll just let him fill in the blank because I need to get off.
She needs to get a Lamar Odom doll then. She needs to get the male doll.
Something. Right. So I wouldn't say lock the box just to punish somebody.
I got a lot of friends. I don't know.
Because you can be punishing yourself too, right?
I don't know what friend you're talking about, but I got a friend that'll knock her off, I'm sure.
I'm sure you have a friend that'll knock her off. They would make you can? Oh, bleep that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, bleep that. Jesus.
And they would be a terrible match. Could you imagine? No. I would pay to see that. Those two together.
I would.
Anyway, I would make him suffer. And I don't like to think of myself as a spiteful person per se, but as I'm sure I've said on this podcast before, I believe that people should get what they deserve. And if you deserve the world, baby, I'm going to give you the world. But if you deserve nothing, you aren't going to get an iota from me. So I think that I would say what you always say, you start with a conversation, which I'm sure that they've already had, but maybe have a nice heart to heart. See if that affects any type of change. If it does not, I personally am going to withdraw. Many of the things that I'm not getting within my relationship, I'm going to get from outside. And I'm not talking about sex and I'm not talking about another person, but we all need general joy. We need to feel the zest of life. We need to feel love. We need to feel companionship. We all need someone to talk to because that's what life is. Life is, love and the people that we have around us, our friendships. It's not about money. It's not about material things. The value of life lies within the value of your friendships and your relationships. So if I'm not getting that value from my husband and I'm not feeling wanted, I'm not feeling appreciated, I'm feeling taken for granted, I'm going to look outside for that zest. I may spend more times with my friends. I may go out to dinner more often. I may go to a club here and there more often. I may take up a hobby, things that I may have been thinking about over the last few years that maybe I dedicated all that time to my husband. I'm going to look more into myself and satisfying my own personal needs. So what I mean by he's going to have to suffer, a person having the luxury of being your priority is a privilege. And it's a choice that the other person makes to give you that. But that should be earned and deserved. Once you've lost that, my priority is going to shift back to myself and you're not going to receive that privilege anymore. And that's how I look at things. So when you shift that attention from him to you, he is going to feel it. He is going to feel it. I am not going to talk to you as much. I'm not going to spend as much time with you. If I make you a meal, it's because I feel like it. But guess what? If I don't feel like it, I'm not going to sacrifice my time and energy to make you that meal. And when you ask me, you know what I'm going to tell you? Because I don't feel like it. And that's the type of relationship that we are going to have. Because you're not going to get all of the fruits. Meanwhile, you're not planting any trees. I'm not. And that just is what it is. I need to feel something from you in order to give you. So and I don't like to use the word advice. What I would do is that I would withdraw and take all that attention that I put on him and I would put it on me. And I think that will affect change. I don't know if we have time, but I would tell you a little story. Esther, do we have time? We have 5 minutes. All right. I could try to wrap it up
You do it
in
next
5
time.
minutes. I'm not going to do it next time because if I do it next
You're
time,
long-winded. I don't think you can do it in 5 minutes, but go. Let me see.
okay, I'm going to try. So I'm realizing that a lot of my life lessons I've learned from my mom. I always admired my mom and just how she moved and how independent she was. So it really, really inspires me. And my father, a lot of my father's personality inspires me as well. When we were in college, and a lot of our moments that I learned from did happen in college. When we were in college, there were times that I felt very, very taken for granted. And I remember one time I was really upset about it. And I told my mom. And my mom said, okay, Gia, this is what you need to do. At the time, I was working at the mall at Hex in Virginia Beach, in Lynn Haven Mall, for Clinique. So, Clinique at the time, I don't know if they still do it. I had like the white lab coat and whatnot. And I would go to work on Saturday mornings. And she said, okay, so you have work tomorrow morning? I said, yeah. She said, okay, this is what I want you to do. Because I told her this was around the same time when he wasn't giving me any compliments. And I just felt as though I didn't really matter. But, he was just an immature, very, very, very young adult at the time. And I guess these are the emotions that you can go through. If you survive them, you do. And if not, then, She said, this is what you do. She said, tomorrow morning, when you're about to go to work, make sure that he's slightly awake. Tell me if you remember. You probably don't. She said, when you go to put on your lab coat, put on a very, very sexy, like black bra and panty set. And as you're getting dressed, let him see you. I said, okay. And what's that supposed to do? She was like, just do it. And then call me back and tell me what happens. I said, okay. So that's what I did. The next morning I got up. I put it on. I kind of woke him up and asked him some type of meaningless question just so he could see what I was wearing underneath my uniform. And he was like, why are you wearing that? I said, oh no, sometimes I just like to feel pretty underneath my clothes. That's all. He was like, it doesn't make any sense that you'd be wearing that to work. And I was like, well, this is what I'm wearing and it means nothing. He was like, He was like, yeah, so where are you going after work today? I was like, oh, me and Yolanda are just going to go somewhere. He was like, yeah, bump that. Yeah, I'm taking you out after work today. As a matter of fact, I'm going to drop you off to work and then I'm going to pick you up. And I was like, this is what mommy was talking about. Because now I'm getting all of this unsolicited attention. Well, I guess it was kind of indirectly solicited, right? Okay. So I tried to fight and say, no, 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 no. And he insisted. And then in a very girly type of way, I was like, okay. So he takes me to work. He picks me up. He takes me out for a date that night. So then I called my mom. I was like, oh my God. I had no idea what I was doing until I did it and I got a result. This is what happened. She's like, She said, now, tonight, this is what you're going to do. When you come downstairs and you see him sitting on the couch, what usually you go sit next to him, you talk to him, what happens? I said, yeah, I pay 1,000% attention to Rashawn. She said, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to get dressed and you're going to look very, very cute. And then when you go downstairs and he's sitting on the couch, what you're going to do is you're going to walk right past him. Don't go sit next to him. Don't ask him about his day because typically he would have been coming home from school. Don't ask him about his day. Don't ask him about his classes. Don't ask him where he's going. Don't pay him any attention. Go to the kitchen, get a drink, get your keys. Tell him you're going to see him later. You're going out. I said, what's that supposed to do? She's like, just do it and call me back and tell me what happens. I came downstairs. I'll never forget. He was sitting on the couch watching Jerry Springer. He kind of paid me no mind until I walked past him because usually I would sit next to him. I'd rub his leg, rub the back of his head. Oh, so how was school? What happened today? Anything cool? What are you doing tonight? Blah, 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 blah. I would be pouring so much into him. I paid him no mind. I went to the kitchen. I got something to drink. I got my keys and I was like, yeah, all right. Well, you know what? I'm going to see you later. I'm going out. And he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What are you doing? Wait, where are you going? Wait, what's going on? You're not going to sit down? You're not going to talk to me? It was all of the attention that I was used to giving him redirected on me. And I don't remember how, but he wound up like really giving me a lot of attention, play fighting with me. And then we were play fighting on the floor so much so that like the little the little side table next to my couch slid to the side and we almost knocked over the aloe vera plant. He's tickling me and everything. There was a girl across the hall from me that I wasn't friends with, but I was familiar with, but she had just gotten pregnant. And at the time it was like, oh my gosh, like someone our age got pregnant. It was like, it's kind of unheard of, right? And she was having the baby, like, oh my gosh. And I remember the night before, like 2 or 3 nights before, I tried to tell him the story about the girl getting pregnant and oh my God, the shock and awe. He didn't care. He had no questions. He didn't get into the story, nothing. While he's tickling me on the floor and then we were both exhausted. While we were both exhausted, he said to me, oh, so what happened with so-and-so? You said that she got pregnant. So whatever wound up happening with that? And at that moment, it freaking clicked to me. My mother knows everything. Because all of a sudden, a conversation that he had zero interest in days before, now all of a sudden you're asking me and he's inquiring about it to me. And now all of a sudden he's all about the conversation. I'm getting physical attention, mental attention. He's asking me questions that he doesn't want me to go. And I was like, wow, my mom's advice literally worked like a charm. Mm-hmm. And what that taught me is that essentially a glass can fill 100% of a liquid, right? I feel like sometimes if you give too much, if I'm giving 70%, it's only allowing 30% for him to give back. If I give 40%, I would notice that he would fill in that remaining 60%. Ideally, you both will be giving 50%, but sometimes you just can't overcompensate. You can't give too much because you're not giving enough room for the person to give back to you. That probably wasn't 5 minutes, but
way longer than 5 minutes. But I hope that helped you. And what I'm gonna do
I said it was 12 minutes.
And fellas, if you're out there listening, you can do the same thing. You walk past your girl in a box of briefs and just say, I'm getting something to water and I'm getting my keys and I'm going out. See what she does to you. All right. Or you come with your lab coat on, with your box of briefs on and your wife beat on and just be like, babe, I'm going out. I want to feel sexy under this. And you go out and see what happens with you.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember any of those things?
No.
Okay, well.
I don't.
Well, I remember because it incited change.
Well, it made me horny. But anyway, we appreciate you.
I still got that lab coat.
Yeah, that's right. You still got the lab coat. All right. I don't need nothing under it. If you want to email us a question, you can, thekcrew@gmail.com. That's THEEKCrew@gmail.com. And we appreciate you guys for rocking with us, riding with us. Please leave a comment, subscribe to the YouTube page, leave comments, DMs, all that. We're checking it. And we'll see you guys next week. I'm DJ Envy.
And I am Gia Casey.
And that was another edition of the KC Crew.
Toodles. You can call me Pitbull from now on. Call me a damn Pitbull. Now you want a German Shepherd? You go get yourself a German Shepherd.
You're the prettiest Pitbull ever.
I love you.
I love you.